different kind of nervous this week compared to last week. Every time I found myself thinking of this day throughout the last week, because I kind of knew that once I started going to the restaurant by myself that it was going to become a weekly thing, just because I do best with consistency. I do best with like what's that word, when you do something like over and over again. Like if I stop right now and I go to a restaurant by myself in a month, let's just say, it's going to be a lot harder for me, I think, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everything, compared to like if I do it every week. Sort of like a snowball. But it needs to be, there's a word for this and I'm like totally blanking, where it needs to be, let's go with consistent. It just works well with everything involved. Because last week, whenever I came back home from the restaurant and everything, my stomach hurt so much. And I shared what I asked ChatGPT on my threads, which is at PSquishy2Ys28. Where like, is it common, like if I did something for the first time ever, where my stomach hurts, it kind of like I had to keep massaging my stomach. And the only time I felt any relief is when I like burped. So I had to do like the Alka-Seltzer and all that. And then even that night, I couldn't sleep well. I kept waking up during the middle of the night because I was in so much pain. And typically the only other times I felt this like huge pain in my stomach was whenever I did something like, or if I was really nervous about something, then it kind of felt like that area like would hurt so much. And I haven't felt that in a while. And I was doing like mentally, I was awesome. Like I was not, I felt nervous, but I wasn't exhibiting the traditional, like how I would have been nervous before. And so I asked ChatGPT, like, I went to the restaurant by myself. I used to have agoraphobia, social anxiety, make it make sense. And it basically said like, oh yeah. And I shared it on my threads because it was so like technical, that apparently my body was in fight or flight response, and I probably swallowed more air because I guess when you're in that state you swallow more air. And something else, and also just from like if you believe that trauma is stored, like there's a lot being released, there's a lot going on there in your body. But I couldn't, like I literally woke up so many times at night and my stomach just hurt so much and I had to keep massaging it. And so, it was just interesting because mentally it's like, I'm fine. Like, I'm not having a panic attack. I think I'm not having, or at least the way I used to have them, like they're not coming up like as, because it used to be pretty bad. Like I said in the last video, like before when I had social anxiety, like doing all of this wasn't even on the table. It wasn't even an option. It wasn't like, like let me think about that. Like even if I thought about it, like I'm out. I'm hyperventilating. I'm so out of it. My mood is bad. Like everything is just bad. And so yeah, this week, every other time I thought about this, what we're doing right now, I'd be like, don't think about it. First of all, it's not happening. Don't think about it. Just wait till you're there and then you can think about it. But yeah, this morning was different. I kind of felt like I was just like, it kind of felt like I had to, like the wind was being taken out of me. That's what it felt like a lot this morning. It felt like I was having trouble breathing. Like I needed to consciously be like okay, like I need to like breathe. Otherwise, like it would just feel like I was being winded or something. But yes! We also made it to a month without the plant. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna do like a formal sit-down video with all of this. But I want to say, yeah, it's been a month with no plant. And that has been really awesome and interesting as well. One thing that I kind of don't like is I used to always have trouble sleeping. Like as early as I can remember, I used to have a really hard time sleeping. My body just never felt safe to go to sleep, like ever. And so one thing that I've been working on recently is getting like, I've been working on that for like, let's say 10 plus years. I've been working on that for 10 plus years. That was one of the main reasons why I started doing the plant to begin with, because whenever I did the plant, I would feel so much more relaxed in a way that I couldn't do it when I was sound and I guess sober. And yeah, oh my gosh, I'm everywhere right now. It's also later in the day. It's also later in the day, which I don't know if that was like subconscious or what, but a part of me was like, oh, it's too late in the day, so we don't have to do that. And I was like, no, Pauline, like you have to do it. Like you have to. I don't know why, it was just given to me. And I take everything that's given to me very seriously. I don't just like wave off any message that he gives me. If something inside of me is telling you, do this weekly, momentum! That's the word I was thinking of earlier, momentum. Where like, yeah, snowball, consistency, whatever I said. No, momentum. So something inside of me was like, you have to do this every week. It's going to be good for you for that momentum. And because I have successfully found a way to sleep a lot better, dudes, it's so crazy. I used to on average get like 3 to 4 hours of rest a night, and I used to do everything under the book and nothing helped. But like, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx it, but I checked my sleep app, because you have that like on your Apple and stuff. If you have it like all set up, it like tracks your sleep. It said your average has been like 8 hours for the past 2 weeks, which almost made me cry. So that's so beautiful. Because again, as someone who comes from like a traumatic, abusive, neglectful, etc. background, a lot of us have a hard time feeling safe within our bodies. And because of that, it's really, 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 really hard to fall asleep. Even if you know you're safe, even if you're in your home, even if something bad hasn't happened to you in 10 years, like all those memories, all of that just gets stored in your body. And I remember one time I did the Spartan, which if you're not familiar, it's like, the one I did was like a 20-mile obstacle course. You're outside running, monkey bars, jumping, balancing, picking up weight, just so much intense. And I did do that with a group of friends about 2 to 3 years ago. And I remember taking my sleep medicine, because I used to have like, I've tried so many different things, but at that time I was taking like these, you know, off the counter, over the counter, like, you know, help you sleep better. It wasn't melatonin, it was something else. And I remember I used to take, it was supposed to be like no more than 2 a night. And that night I must have taken like 12 or 14 or 16. I was just like, I need to go to sleep, because I'm going to do this huge 20-mile obstacle course the next day. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I need my rest. And I remember only sleeping like 2 hours that night, even though I was trying to like myself out of it, but you know. And so it was just really intense. And I remember going to I remember trying to be so optimistic and so positive. Like at 2 a.m, it was so apparent like I'm not getting any rest. I was wide awake, like nothing was helping me. And then a part of me was like, well, at least you get to spend more time getting ready, because I would do my hair, I did my makeup, even though it was like a 20-mile obstacle course. And I always try to spin everything to be as optimistic and positive as possible, because I'm a solution-based person. I'm not like gonna be focusing on the problem, because I know if I would spend my time being like, oh my gosh, I didn't sleep well, like you're just reinforcing, you're not helping. Like that's not gonna help you sleep any better if you keep saying that. So I just like I would always tell myself like, oh, I slept so well, like that was amazing rest. I would even like, for a lot of mornings, I would make myself yawn and stretch and pretend like, oh yeah, like that was amazing. What are you talking about? Like that was 8-9 hours. Like that's crazy. I'm a bit everywhere. But I remember trying to be positive that morning. Like you have more time to do your makeup. You know, you can even like, you know, whatever. And I remember all of us going to do this Spartan. All of us, you know, it was really intense, so intense. You're out in the sun for like, you know, whatever hours, 4, 5, 6 hours. Like you're running again, you're doing all this like movement with your body, lifting weights, like. And then when everyone came back to the Airbnb, I remember like everyone taking a shower or something and then just like knocking out. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like I wish I could, you know, like I remember trying to lay down, but Naps and I have never been on the same plane. And I remember just washing everyone's clothes, because that was their first Spartan, but it was like my second one. And I know like all of our shoes were muddy, all of our clothes were muddy. And I knew from the first experience that if you don't wash them right away, that it can clump up and make it harder to wash later. So I remember just washing everyone's clothes, because I was just wide awake and watching a movie. I think I started dinner. Like I was just like wired. And then that night I remember thinking like, man, there's no, like I have to sleep well. There's no other option right now than to sleep well. You can't tell me I was out in the sun 5-6 hours. I slept 2 hours last night. I've been on my feet all day. Like, and I remember taking a lot more medicine that night and still only sleeping 2 hours. And that was one of the few occasions, because I was during the time where I was still doing the plant. And I remember thinking like, because I've never been addicted to it. If I ever wanted to like balance, I always could. And that was one time where I remember being like optimistic, like, okay, awesome, we're gonna have like a control group. Like, what's gonna happen if you don't have that? And then of course I could only sleep 2 hours a night, because I didn't want to bring it with me. And I was just like, you know. But yeah, because I used to do it for like 5 years, pretty like every single day, 5 years, pretty consistent every single day for 5 years. And for whatever reason, February 24th came around and I quantum leapt, which by the way, but anyways, February 24th came around and my desire was just no longer there. I don't know why. But around that time is when I went to the dentist, and I was trying to take my dental health more seriously. And so it's really interesting, because it seems like my whole evening routine like literally went 180 within a matter of a day. And my routine has been that way for the past like month. No desire to, you know, do the plant, taking my dental health more seriously than ever before. Because like I got so much work done, and so with all of that also came I've always been trying different things. I have tried so many things to sleep well. I just illustrated like that was the condition I was in prior to a month ago when it came to my rest. Like even after doing all of that, I still wasn't able to sleep well. And I don't like to speak things into like existence or all of that or reinforce it, but that would always like kind of bum me out, because it was like, dude, like I can pretend like I slept well, I can do my best to be optimistic and positive, but that was just clear, like a controlled, like safe, like this is literally where you are when it comes to your rest. Like I don't know if it was because I was with people, I don't know if it's because it was an Airbnb, I don't know. But I literally, my body was just not, like, it was just alert. Like, I'm not safe here. Like, that's what my body felt. Because when you go through severe trauma as a child, not just once, not just twice, but like on a daily basis, So, but around that time, February 24th, the quantum leaping and the dental care and just a complete 180 of my evening routine, I used to always do the plant, you know, eat a lot, go to sleep that way. Because I would always sleep well when I was on the plant and when I had a full belly. Like, I would just knock out. And if that's what I had to do to sleep, you know, 6 hours, perfect. Thank you. Like, anything better than like 3-4 hours, please. But with the dental care, it's like you have to brush your teeth at night. It's like, okay, I have to do that. So you really can't, like, because once you brush your teeth, it kind of wakes you up, which is one of the main reasons why I never used to do that in my evening routine, because it would wake me up and it's like, dude, I need to sleep, you know? Dental care, rest. Like, you know, it's really hard to pick between those two. But for those 5 years, I would plant, eat a lot, go to sleep. And I didn't even ask, I didn't even intend for it, I didn't do anything. The February 24th, I quantum leapt. I have videos describing all, you know, details. And it was like, I'm not doing that anymore. And I still have no idea how that even happened. But now my routine is completely different. I'm on calorie deficit. I'm tracking. I'm trying to eat way before my bedtime so I can sleep properly. So, you know, it digests everything before I lay down. I want to be able to brush my teeth, and if it wakes me up, that's fine. And my routine, and I'm so like, I don't want to jinx it or anything, but we're at a place now where I'm sleeping 8 hours, sometimes 9. I want to say I slept 9 hours, maybe 4 times in the past 2 weeks. So beautiful. And the point that I was trying to make before all of this was that because everything happened at the same time, I've also noticed that I'm starting to dream way more. And I want to say it's because of the fact that I'm sleeping more. Because before, I would never hit my REM cycle. If I slept, you know, 30 minutes here, 1 hour here, 30 minutes there, like, your body's not able to tap into that. But because I'm at a place now where I'm able to rest 8 hours, like, it's so beautiful. Like, I am also having a lot of dreams. And a lot of them aren't that pleasant. So that's interesting, where it's like, I want to say like another release of my previous, however you want to phrase it, like it's being let go now. And it's crazy because, yeah, yesterday, well, not even yesterday, I've been off calorie deficit for the past 5 days. Before that, I was on it every single day, and starting today, I'm 1,000% convinced that I'm going to be on it every single day for at least like the next month or so. But after the quantum leaping, which was about a month ago, and last week was a huge week for me in terms of I started painting again. It's been years since I've done that. I went out to the restaurant by myself. That was the first time ever in my entire life I did that. And then I also started a new business last Wednesday. And that took a lot out of me as well, because you have the Pauline that was born into poverty. You have the Pauline that used to wear hand-me-down clothes. You have the Pauline that had endured so much, in addition to the trauma, in addition to the abuse, in addition to the neglect, in addition to everything else I ever endured. And now I'm at a position where it's like, bro, like, and it's very like official. It's very grown. It's very, I don't know how to phrase this, but it's really common for individuals who survived this sort of background and upbringing. It's really common for us to dream small, to not dream big, to sort of keep ourselves like, because we're so used to hiding our true selves. We're so used to hiding our true selves. We're not used to taking up space, right? Because if we tried being ourselves, if we tried taking up space as a child, you're going to be disciplined for that or abused. You're going to be put in your place. You're going to be like shut down because you're not, you know, all of that wasn't nurtured. All of that wasn't nurtured. It was criticized, it was humiliated, it was shut down. Try that again, see what happens, kind of, you know. So literally last Monday, I started painting again after years. last Tuesday, I went out to a restaurant by myself for the first time ever. I recorded all of that. And then the next day, Wednesday, I started a new business. And it was such a huge, like, it was so much that Thursday, I woke up and I was so lethargic. Even though I slept 8 hours, I was so lethargic. I was so tired. That Friday, that Saturday, that Sunday, and yesterday, I was just so, like, tired. And I know I've mentioned before on the channel that I used to have the binge eating disorder. And these past 5 days, I was not binging. I would just eat, my plate, and, but I wasn't tracking. I didn't have the capacity to track. And I do know that a lot of it, or some of it, was to get a sense of control. Like, haha, I'm eating and I'm not tracking. Like, whatever, like, that part came out. I guess the part, because I haven't done so much, those few days, in addition to everything that I've experienced since the quantum leaping. Because, like, I am taking my dental care more seriously. My sleep is so much better. I'm in a super awesome routine. And then today, it was so easy for me to be like, well, you've done so much, you don't have to. And it's like, no, Pauline, you kind of have to. You have to keep that momentum going. Because if you want to get to that place, like you mentioned in that last video, where you're so confident, because imagine in a year, when I go to a restaurant by myself, I'm going to have, like, so much experience at that point. And that's why I know all of this makes sense. Even though, my stomach kind of starting to hurt right now. Ah! But you have to embrace it. Because everything that was stored inside of you is going to be inside of you until it's let out. And the only way it's let out is, there's like so many different things you can do. But one of them for me is to tackle it head on. I can't just hide in my safety, in my home. I could. But that's not what he's telling me. That's not what the call is. That's not what I'm getting. I'm getting, go out again. I'm proud of you. It's all going to be worth it at the end. Like I promised you. And I have so much trust in him that, like, it's not even something I have to think about. It's like, I got it. I got you. Like, I got it. Period. Cannot believe that last video where I almost started to cry, that I was like driving, I was like, like Pauline. But I know it's all going to be awesome. Like, even when I was getting ready, I was like, and I saw like two paths. The path where I chose to stay in, and I could see myself being like, and I can feel myself being like, it's going to be so much harder next time. And then I saw myself in the future, like few hours from now, where I'm gonna be like, dude, like, that was awesome. Like, can you believe I went out twice by myself? Like, like, I already know that's gonna happen. And I already know a year from now I'm gonna be so much more confident. But you don't get there unless you answer all of these calls, unless you go with what you're feeling inside of you, your intuition, whatever you want to call it. I can feel this starting to get a little discomfort. I just have to, like, listen, like, because ChatGPT said to breathe a certain way, and it did help so much. So you see, I already know so much now. The second time I'm going out compared to the first time, I already know why this is happening. I already can anticipate it and have, like, my tools ready. Like, this is what you have to do to feel better. So imagine my third, my fourth, my fifth, my sixth, seventh, So it's gonna be awesome. This video was a bit everywhere. I have so many things to share. I do want to give a thorough, like, update from No Plant, because I used to do it every single day for 5 years, and now it's been a month without it. So that's pretty big. And yeah, that's where we are right now. Oh my gosh, this time was so much different than the first time, and I feel like that's how, like, oh my gosh, it was very different, both in the experience and also how I showed up today. Like I mentioned earlier, as soon as I turned off the camera and I started to, like, from the time I turned off the camera to, like, when I went into the restaurant, this part hurts. Like, it really, like, maybe it was like at a 2 or 3 out of 10. Like years ago, whenever I was super anxious about something, it would be like an 8 or something. And last week it was like a 10, 11 out of 10 after, you know, everything. I also ate half of what I usually like, because I think I mentioned like last week when I was at the restaurant, I didn't want to, I don't know, I've been told that I overthink a lot, and I think that's like a symptom or a response to, like, obviously, like when you go through certain things, your brain's always like da 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 da. But I didn't want to show up and look a certain way, and I was so concerned about how I was being perceived. Like, I didn't want to look like I don't know. So I ate everything because it's like, I don't know. But on top of the, you know, the release of everything and my tummy hurting, like last week, I think eating more than what I usually eat at this time didn't help that. And today I was really adamant, like, just eat half, Pauline. Like, however you think you're being perceived, like, don't even think about it. No one's even thinking anything like that, you know. And then you, but so then, like, yeah, like, I was just like don't even worry about, you know, X, Y, and Z, you know, because, like, yeah, like, I don't know, that's like something else. But I did, like, okay, first of all, last week I don't know if, like, I was being favored, but last week I sat down and maybe my server came to me like maybe like 5 minutes after sitting, so I was able to kind of like settle in, open up my book, wrap my brain around what's happening, like, it's okay, you're safe, like, da 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 da, you know, everything I had to tell myself in my head. But this time, between the time the hostess like was like, oh, here's your table, and then I also I know where I'm going. But today, between the time my hostess was like, here's your table, and like whenever my server came, it was like, I want to say, like, it literally felt like 30 seconds. Like, I had no time to sort of wrap my brain around what was happening, which, as someone with anxiety, or at least when I used to, you know, I always like more time. I don't know how people phrase it, but I always like to use the word process. Like, I need time to like I need time to, you know, like, settle in. I need time to, you know, like, oh, a lot's going on right now. Even though, like, to the average person, like, someone just sat you at your table and you're at a restaurant, like, what do you think was going to happen? But again, I don't have that much experience going out to eat at a restaurant. I don't have that much experience, like, going out in general. And for someone who used to be agoraphobic and socially anxious, and not just a little bit, but I mean, like, it's a lot to walk into a place and be like, hi, this and that, and then for them to sit you down, and then for someone else to be like, hi, what do you need? And it's like, wait, what? Like, it's a lot happening right now. I think this is, it has to be. It has to be. I just have to read the thingy to see. I just felt so much. And even when everything was happening, oh yeah, this is the right one. Awesome! Oh yeah! But when everything was happening, it was kind of just like, I always have to tell myself it's okay. That's one of the things I always tell myself. It's okay. It's okay. You're okay. Because as someone who survived, you know, everything that I've gone through, it's a lot to sort of tell yourself that you're safe. But it was awesome. I sat like right in the front, like by the front entrance. So every time someone walked in, they saw me. I don't think I ever looked up once because I was kind of like going through a lot. But I did feel, I don't know how it's going to show up in the video. I'm really curious to see, because a lot of the times we feel things, and I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but a lot of the times we are like, oh my gosh, like that, you know, was so much, for lack of better words, like worse or more intense than what it actually was. Like, you might feel like, oh my gosh, like I sounded so weird, but to the average person, they're like, no, you sounded just fine. So I don't know what that is called, but I am curious to see the video of me sitting down and stuff, especially the first like 5-10 minutes, because I could have sworn my hand was shaking. Not a lot, but just like maybe like that, like just minute. And again, like to the average person, they're like not even paying attention. And that's always like what I would tell myself. I remember being in school, like high school, and being so nervous to do a presentation. And I would just tell myself, like, to look at people, and I did. And a lot of the times, they weren't even paying attention to you. So it's like, oh, this is nice. Like, no one's even paying attention to me. And the people that are, if they are paying attention to you, that means, like, they care on some level. So, yeah, this time was a lot different than the first time. In my overthinking, or however you want to phrase that, a part of me was like, did I just have more adrenaline last week? And I was just like so hopped on like, you know, adrenaline that like I wasn't able to perceive everything as it was happening. But like I mentioned, the server did come super quick, which is awesome because like I'm able to have that experience now instead of like, because that's just how life is. Sometimes you're gonna have 5 minutes to decompress, to sort of, you know, settle in. Like, okay, let me read a little bit, this and that. And the other time, someone's gonna come right away. Hi, how may I help you today? And you're like, ah! Like, what is happening right now? Like, I don't even know what day it is. Like, I'm just so like, ah! So yeah, it's all an awesome experience. Everything is always awesome because no matter what, like you always have yourself, you always have your back, you always, you know, like it doesn't matter what's happening, like it's gonna be awesome. And you have to 1000% believe it, because it is true that everything is always like a learning lesson. And let's just say, like, I'm not putting it out there, but let's just say one of these times I do regress or something. As someone who overcame everything that I've overcome, the binge eating disorder, the social anxiety, my depression, and a lot of other stuff, like, you have to be super gentle with yourself. Because first of all, these things might happen, they tend to happen. When you're raised a certain way, but you know deep down, like, you're so not supposed to be there. Like you were born to do so much more than what had happened to you. Like, yeah, regressing or taking a step back, or however you want to phrase that, it's gonna happen. Like, I just came off of calorie deficit 5 days. I was off for 5 days. And, you know, whenever it started to feel like, I was like, no. Like, remember what happened right before your quantum leaping experience? You had so much self-love. You had so much, like, it's okay. And if you woke up and wanted to, you know, I didn't even, like, stuff my face or anything like that. Like I mentioned, it was mostly, like, intuitive eating. But the fact that I was off, the fact that my anxiety was like, the fact that, like, you know, everything wasn't controlled. It's like, it's okay. If that's what you felt today, that's what you felt. I fully accept you. I love you. And that's it. Because if you start to, you know, like, you know, like, that doesn't, it's not good for anyone. Literally, for nobody is that good for. And I remember learning that years ago, after like the 100th time I sort of fell back on bad patterns, quote unquote, that like, no, like, because you're already experiencing something. If you feel so lethargic, you feel so tired, you feel so like you can't even go out right now, you can't even like track anything, you don't even have the ability to do all of that, like, that's one thing. And you can start to beat yourself up over it, like, that's another thing. Now we have two things against us, and we don't need all that. We really don't. Nobody does. Allow things to happen, accept it, welcome it, cherish it, love it, because everything is just part of your journey. And it's also beautiful. It's also beautiful. Everything, every version of you, every past version of you. And I said quote unquote bad patterns, because whenever people think of something as bad, so let's just say I do overeat, or let's just say, you know, whatever. It's like literally at one point in time, that is what helped us. That's what soothed us. That's what, like, protected us. So it's okay. It's okay. Everything's okay. I can feel like I have to cry. It's like right there, but I can't believe that video where I'm like yeah, this time wasn't very different. I did feel more, I guess, I don't want to say I felt more nervous, but I felt everything coming out of my body, everything being released, I felt that being happened way more than last week. So I don't know if my theory or hypothesis is correct in saying, like, you know, adrenaline. But whatever it was, that's what it was last week. That's what it is this week. I can't wait for next week. I did go to a place that I had been to before because, again, like, you know, everybody's different. If you want to throw yourself off the deep end, like, cool. Like, that works for some people. But I know for me in my past and everything that I've ever gone through and the way I was able to overcome everything I already overcame, I was really gentle with myself, and I gave myself a lot of time, a lot of space, a lot of grace, and just being really gentle with yourself. Because I already have my barometer for, like, pressure and intensity, like, it's all been maxed out when I was very young. I don't need all of that. I really don't. And I already know, like, I'm going to be so successful in everything that I do, especially because I approach it with, like, gentleness. That's how it works for me. And that's how I always advocated it for anyone. If anyone ever asked me, like, you know, how do I get from point A to Z? It's like really slowly, be mindful of setbacks, be okay with, you know, this and that, and don't really have, like, I don't even want to say, like, I was gonna say don't have expectations, and I know I just said, like, in a year I'm gonna be X, Y, and Z, but that's different than expectations. Expectations are like, okay, I went to a restaurant, you know, this week, next week I'm gonna go to a new restaurant, the week after that I'm gonna go out of state, the week after that, like, I'm gonna, like, don't do that, because what if next week comes, my third week, and I show more, you know, I don't know what, but let's just say I forget how to talk, and I go back to, like, whenever, because there was a long time where I was like a, like, kind of mute, like, let's just say I go back to nonverbal, like, okay, well, that's just where we are right now. Well, anyways, you know, like, be very gentle with yourself, very gentle, because you are all you have. And you have to protect that. You have to protect yourself, you know. Okay, I feel like, yes, I feel like I fully captured the experience. It was really interesting how I think, like, I displayed more jitters. I felt like I had to ground myself more this time. Like, I really had to tell myself, like, it's okay, no one's looking at you, no one's noticing you're shaking, you're safe. Like, I had to keep, you know, going back. And last week I don't remember doing that, but I did mention earlier that I went to this restaurant later than last time. I was like, I remember all day I was thinking about it, all morning. What time does the restaurant open? At 11? Okay, I'm gonna get there at 11 because it's gonna be really empty and no one's gonna be there and everything's gonna be awesome. And it was. But this time I did, like, I think I mentioned earlier, like, every time it came up, I was like, don't think about it, we're not there, just focus on what you gotta do. So clean, take care of the little ones, exercise, X, Y, and Z, everything else that has to get done, and we'll get there when we get there. I must have gotten there, like, literally, like, prime lunchtime, which is why I went last week as soon as it opened, because I was trying to avoid the crowd. But this time I was trying to be more lenient towards, like, letting it just go with the flow. But it was more crowded. Maybe that was another thing, I don't know. But again, baby steps. Baby steps. Baby steps. And I, like, even right now I kind of feel my tummy, like, a certain way. But I'm going to be more mindful. I'm going to start that breathing. Whatever ChatGPT said, like, there was a certain, like, you know, number count in, number count out, X, Y, and Z. I was trying to breathe a little bit when I was at the restaurant. And that was, like, random chords on the freeway. And yeah, it was interesting. It was different. Last week I had this, like, oh, you have to eat everything, otherwise you're going to look a certain way. And this week it's like, just eat half. Because I don't know how much of that attributed to your tummy hurting even more than it had to. You know, like, whatever I feel tonight is what I'm going to feel tonight. But don't be so preoccupied with how you're being perceived. Like what's the worst thing that can happen? Like literally, what's the worst thing that can happen? Someone can come by and say something about something. Like, okay. Like, but I know what I'm doing is best for me, and however it's being perceived, I can't control that. And that's for a lot of things in life, not just for that. But so I'm really proud of myself for eating like half my meal. I'm really proud of myself for like, you know, grounding myself. I also need to start reading more. I made this like 2025 bingo card at the beginning of the year, which sort of served as a resolution / tiny bucket list for 2025. And I did make that when I was under the plant, because sometimes the plant is really good. And I remember reading 45 books this year. And it's March. It's about to be April. And I've read one so far. So it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. Everything's gonna be awesome. So yeah.